John Locke was born August 29, 1632 in Winton, Somerset, England. He was sent to the prestigious Westminster School in London in 1647. Upon completing his studies, Locke was admitted to Christ Church, Oxford. Locke's interest in the ideas of modern philosophers such as René Descartes led him to pursue medicine and experimental philosophy. Robert Boyle, the leader of Oxford's scientific group, had an especially profound influence on Locke. Under the mentorship of Boyle, Locke learned about mechanical philosophy, atomism, and adopted the ideas of primary and secondary qualities that later became central components to his own theories. Locke's skill in medicine led him to become the personal physician of Earl of Shaftesbury in London. Shaftesbury played a major role in influencing Locke's political philosophy. Locke resumed his medical studies under the guidance of Thomas Sydenham, who significantly affected Locke's natural philosophy. Because Locke's radical ideas of freedom and religion and natural rights were considered a threat to the king, he was exiled to Holland in 1682. After the overthrow of the king in the Glorious Revolution of 1688, Locke returned to England. In 1690, Locke published the two treatises of civil government and soon after the essay concerning human understanding, which served as the basis of modern empiricism. In his final years, Locke lived in the country of oats and Essex. He died on October 28, 1704.
Much of Locke's philosophy focused on the question, what is knowledge? Locke answered this philosophical question when in 1690 he published an essay concerning human understanding. Thus, Locke argued that knowledge was based on tabula rasa and that the mind was essentially a blank slate. From John Locke's perspective, tabula rasa was to suppose the mind to be, as we say, white paper void of all characters without any ideas, and that all knowledge is founded from that it ultimately derives itself. Locke's theory of tabula rasa is the continuities of the ideas first expressed by Aristotle and later become the basis of modern empiricism. Locke described knowledge as being broken into two sections. The first section of knowledge are simple ideas. These are sense perceptions that serve as building blocks for complex abstract ideas. The sense perceptions of simple ideas are first filtered through a processing power, then reflected into one complex thought. The second section of knowledge are complex ideas, which are the combination of multiple simple ideas. Locke said in his essay that our observation employed either about external sensible objects or about the internal operations of our mind, perceived and reflected on by ourselves, is that which supplies our understanding with materials of thinking. These are the foundations of knowledge, from hence all the ideas we have to spring. Descartes and Locke had varying views of epistemology. Descartes believed knowledge was innate to the human mind from the moment a human was born. However, Locke believed knowledge was gained through experience because of the senses that were reflected into complex thoughts. Locke argued that without any evidence to the principles of reason, there was no truth or knowledge. The divergent views of Descartes and Locke reflect the manner in which empiricism was a response to rationalism. While rationalists like Spinoza and Descartes believed that knowledge was based on reason and innate, empiricists such as Locke, Hume, and Berkeley argued that knowledge was derived from sensory experiences. Another major focus on Locke's empirical theories were the primary and secondary qualities. Primary quality is classified to be objective, impersonal, and universal, such as 2 plus 2 is 4. Secondary quality is felt by the sense of varies from person to person, such as the sour taste of an apple. Locke believed in order for complex thoughts to be true, they need to have reason. Locke organized principles into 3 sections of reason, such as according to reason, above reason, and contrary to reason. Locke said that under according to reason propositions whose truth we can discover by examining and tracing those ideas we have from sensation and reflection, and by natural deduction find to be true or probable. Locke said that under above reason propositions whose truth or probability, natural deduction find to be true or probable. Locke said that under contrary to reason, propositions are inconsistent to our clear and distinct ideas. John Locke's general philosophy, which attempted to answer the question what is knowledge and how do humans perceive the world, significantly influenced later philosophers such as David Hume, who adopted Locke's theories into his own philosophy. Locke's ideas are the foundation for modern empiricism, which served as a response to the rationalism of Descartes and Spinoza.
Throughout the 17th century, the rulers of England have endured intense conflict with their subjects over the limitations of royal power. For example, King Charles I ruled England for 11 years without summoning Parliament. After the English Civil War, the king still refused to share power with Parliament. During the reign of King James II, history continued to repeat itself as the king refused to respect the political authority of Parliament. Parliament's power was finally restored when the king was overthrown in the Glorious Revolution of 1688. It was during this era of political turmoil in England that John Locke attempted to answer the question, what is the purpose of government? In 1690, Locke published his famous work, Two Treatises of Civil Government. The first treaty challenged the ideas of Sir Robert Fimmel's Patriarchate, which argued that the king had divine sanction to rule. Locke refuted that the government rules only by the consent of the people. In the second treaty, Locke focuses on the state of nature, in which all human beings, as creatures belonging to the same species and rank and born indiscriminately with all the same natural advantages and faculties, are equal amongst themselves. Because life in the state of nature is full of continual dangers, Locke indicates that the people must surrender some of their rights to the government in order to preserve their safety. From this, Locke developed his social contract theory, which maintains that the government derives its authority from the consent of the people and are subject to the law. Locke also emphasizes that the fundamental purpose of the government is to protect the natural rights of the people. If the government fails to do so, then the people are vindicated to rebel. Locke's social contract theory is based on the ideas of Thomas Hobbes and can also be viewed as a reaction to the monarchical rule of England. Locke maintained that there are three forms of law: positive law, divine law, and natural law. Positive law is interpreted as conventions in a particular society. Divine law refers to the laws that God reveals through prophets. Natural law refers to the basic moral truths that apply to all people, regardless of social status, gender, or age, and can be discovered only through reason. Locke's theory of natural law leads to the concept of natural rights, which he describes as life, liberty, and property. Locke's two treatises also explain that legitimate government is based on a separation of powers. The first branch of government is the legislative power, which has ultimate authority over how the force of the Commonwealth shall be employed. The second branch is the executive power, and it enforces the law as it is applied in specific cases. Locke's third branch is called the federative power, which consists of the right to act internationally according to the law of nature. Locke's theory of separation of powers significantly influenced the ideas of Montesquieu. In the letter concerning toleration, published in 1689, Locke maintains that there must be an absolute separation between the church and the state. Locke suggests that the jurisdiction of the government should not be extended to the salvation of the souls. The power of the government consists only in outward force, but true and sane religion consists in the inward persuasion of the mind. Locke maintains that there must be a separation between the church and the state, since the state exists not to enforce public morality, but to protect the rights of man from being violated.
Locke's political philosophy was heavily influenced by the political circumstances of England and other philosophers. For example, Locke's radical ideas can be viewed as an attempt to rebel against the tyrannical monarchy and a response to the chaotic and war-driven state of England. Furthermore, Locke's first treatise is directly influenced by the philosophy of Sir Robert Filmer and the idea of the king's divine right to rule. In addition, the ideas expressed in the second treatise are heavily influenced by Shaftesbury, and the theory of the natural law is modeled on the rights of Thomas Hobbes. Locke's political perspective is also noteworthy when analyzing his philosophy. Had Locke been a monarch of England, he certainly would not have supported the concepts of the social contract or separation of governmental powers. To place Locke in historical context, he played a major role in the Age of the Enlightenment, a complex and diverse intellectual movement that applied the methods of the scientific revolution to the study of human society. The advances in scientific thought inspired a few brave souls such as Locke to question the reasonableness of long-established religious and political institutions. Enlightenment thinkers argued that if scientists could understand the laws of nature, then the laws of human nature could also be revealed and applied to better regulate governments based on science rather than hereditary monarchy. As for Locke's legacy, his ideas and concepts not only changed the political state of England at the time, but led to a wave of revolutions throughout the world. The theories of the social contract and natural rights shaped the ideas of founding fathers during the American Revolution. For example, the Declaration of Independence states, "All men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." Locke also significantly influenced the French Revolution and Haitian Revolution. For example, the Declaration of Rights of Man states, "The purpose of all political association is the preservation of the natural and imprescriptible rights of women and man. These rights are liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression." Locke's impact extends to the struggle for women's suffrage because he was one of the first philosophers in recent times to focus on sexual roles. He directly influenced the philosophy of John Stuart Mill, who later played an essential role in the battle for gender equality.